The spaceship horizon floated in the dark sea of stars, shining like a small silver jewel in the endless sky. Inside the main hall, hundreds of human and alien leaders stood together. Waiting in silence, it was a historic day. The first peace meeting between humans and the Zyrathian Empire, a proud race known for their glowing violet skin and crystal-like eyes. At the center of the hall stood the alien queen, Zyrathia, tall, graceful, and powerful, her every move calm but full of hidden energy. No one dared to stand too close, for the Zyrathians had strict customs, and touching their queen was forbidden, a crime punishable by death. Among the human officers stood Lieutenant Aaron Reed, a young man with sharp eyes and a nervous heart. He had been chosen to represent humanity's new generation of peacekeepers. It was his first time meeting an alien, and even more their queen. His hands were slightly shaking as he held the treaty tablet, ready to present it to her. The hall was silent. Only the hum of the ship's engines filled the air. Queen Zyrathia stepped forward, her gown glowing softly like light passing through glass. Her voice was deep yet soft, echoing through the hall like a song. "Humanity seeks peace," she said. "Let this meeting mark the end of war." Aaron took a deep breath and walked toward her, every eye watching him. He bowed slightly and extended the treaty tablet with both hands, his movements respectful and slow. The queen reached out gracefully, her long fingers almost touching the surface of the tablet. In that moment, the ship shook violently, alarms blaring, lights flickering red. A meteor fragment had hit the ship's outer shield, throwing everyone off balance. Aaron stumbled forward before he could stop himself. His hand brushed against the queen's skin, soft and glowing like warm crystal. The hall froze. The sound of weapons charging filled the air as Zyrathian guards pointed their plasma spears at him. Gasps and shouts echoed around the chamber. Aaron's heart pounded as he realized what he had done. He had touched the alien queen, the sacred one, the untouchable. He stepped back, his face pale, his voice trembling. I didn't mean to." It was an accident, but the guards didn't move, their glowing eyes fixed on him. Waiting for her command, the queen stood still, looking at her hand, then at him. The light in her eyes shifted. Not anger, but something deeper, something no one could understand. Slowly, she raised her hand. Stopping her guards, everyone waited, expecting her to order his execution. Aaron dropped to one knee, his voice shaking. "Your Majesty, please forgive me. It was not my intention." The hall remained silent. The queen walked closer, her eyes glowing brighter now. When she spoke, her voice was soft, almost like a whisper. "You are not one of us, and yet your touch carries the mark," she said. Aaron looked up confused. "The mark?" The queen leaned closer, her face inches from his, her expression unreadable. "You carry the mark of the first," she whispered. Her voice filled with mystery and fear. Her words echoed through the hall, making everyone whisper among themselves. The Zyrathian guards looked uncertain, their eyes wide in disbelief. Before Aaron could ask what she meant, the queen turned away. "Take him to the isolation chamber," she ordered calmly. The guards obeyed, but there was no anger in their movements, only confusion. As they led him away, he could still feel the warmth of her touch burning on his hand. The moment felt strange, like something inside him had changed. His thoughts raced. What did she mean by the mark of the first? In the observation room above, human and alien diplomats argued. Some demanded his immediate punishment. Others insisted it was an accident. But the queen spoke again, her tone final. "He is not to be harmed." Her eyes glowed faintly as she looked out the window into the stars. "The prophecy has begun," she said quietly to herself. Aaron sat alone in the cold chamber, his mind spinning with fear and curiosity. He remembered the moment their skin touched, the sudden warmth, the light, the strange whisper inside his head. It wasn't just an accident, it felt like something powerful had awakened. He didn't understand it, but deep inside, he knew his life would never be the same. Outside, the stars burned brighter, and far away, unknown forces began to move. The fate of two species had changed with one single touch. And somewhere deep in the darkness of space, something ancient had stirred. The story of a human and an alien queen had just begun. Aaron sat alone in the cold isolation chamber, his breath fogging up the glass around him. The silence felt heavy, pressing on his chest like the weight of space itself. He could still feel the strange warmth on his palm from when he touched the queen's hand. It didn't fade. Instead, it pulsed softly, glowing with a faint blue light under his skin. He stared at it in disbelief, whispering to himself, "What is happening to me? Outside the chamber?" Alien guards stood still, their glowing eyes fixed on him. They spoke in hushed tones in their language, the words filled with fear and confusion. On the command deck, Queen Serathia watched the scene through a holographic screen. Her face remained calm, but her mind was racing. Never in history had a human touched a Zyrathian royal and survived. But there was something different about this one, something the prophecy had warned of centuries ago. An ancient scroll had spoken of the first, a being from the stars who would unite two divided worlds. Many believed it was only a myth, a story told to children, but now, seeing the glow on the human's hand, Serathia began to doubt that belief. Her heart beat faster as she remembered the words of her ancestors. When flesh and crystal meet, the path of peace shall awaken. Aaron's mind was full of questions. Why did she stop the guards from killing him? Why did she call him the first? And why did his hand glow like hers? He pressed his palm against the glass wall. Watching the faint blue light reflect in his eyes, it was both beautiful and terrifying. Suddenly the door opened and two guards stepped inside. They motioned for him to follow without a word. Aaron stood up and walked between them, his heart pounding. They led him through the quiet metal corridors of the ship until they reached a grand chamber filled with strange symbols and floating crystals. There, waiting for him, was Queen Serathia herself. She stood near a holographic window that showed the stars swirling outside. When she turned, her glowing eyes met his, and Aaron froze again. Her presence felt powerful yet calm. She raised her hand slightly, signaling the guards to leave them alone. As the door closed, only silence and the hum of the ship surrounded them. "You're afraid," she said softly. Her voice echoing in the chamber, Aaron nodded. "I thought I was going to die." Serathia tilted her head, studying him. "Death is easy, Lieutenant Reed," she replied. "Living with destiny is far harder." Aaron frowned. "Destiny, what do you mean?" She walked closer, the air around her shimmering faintly with energy. "When you touched me, something ancient awoke," she said. "Our histories are connected in ways your people have long forgotten." She gestured toward a floating hologram that appeared between them. It showed human DNA alongside Zyrathian DNA, weaving together like light and shadow. "You see this," she continued, "we are not so different. Human and Zyrathian share the same origin." Aaron's eyes widened. "That's impossible, humans evolved on Earth." Serathia smiled faintly. "And who told you that story?" The hologram changed again, now showing ancient beings of light-shaping stars and planets. "These were the first ones," Serathia explained. "They created both our species to protect the balance of the galaxy." Aaron stared at the glowing figures, unable to believe what he saw. "You mean humans and your kind were made by the same beings?" he asked. The Queen nodded slowly. "Yes, and the one who carries their mark will bring peace or destruction." Aaron stepped back, shaking his head. "I'm just a soldier. I'm no chosen one." But the Queen stepped closer, her voice gentle but firm. "You touched me and you survived. No one else ever could. That makes you special." She raised her hand, showing him her palm. A faint blue glow appeared there too, matching his when their light met. The whole room shimmered with energy, the crystals humming softly. For a moment, Aaron felt connected to her mind, her memories, her emotions. He saw flashes of war, loss, and endless loneliness. He felt her pain, the burden of ruling a divided empire, the fear of extinction, and through it all, he felt her hope, a desperate wish for peace. He gasped and stumbled back, his eyes wide. "I saw everything." Serathia looked down, her voice trembling slightly. "Now you understand why I cannot let them harm you." A soft alarm beeped in the background. Breaking the moment, the Queen looked toward the doorway, her eyes narrowing. "They will come for you," she said quietly. "My council believes you are a danger." Aaron's pulse quickened. "What will you do?" Serathia turned back to him, her expression unreadable. "I will protect you, but it will cost me everything," she whispered. Before Aaron could speak, the lights flickered, and a shadow moved outside the chamber door. Serathia's tone grew sharp. "They are coming sooner than I thought." She reached out, taking his glowing hand in hers once again. The energy between them sparked, casting bright reflections across the walls. "Remember this moment, Lieutenant Reed," she said, her eyes glowing like stars. The mark of the first is not a gift. It is a responsibility. And with those words, the door burst open, soldiers rushing in, their weapons raised. But before anyone could touch him, the Queen raised her hand and a powerful wave of light filled the room. The soldiers froze, unable to move, the energy humming all around. Aaron looked at her in awe as she turned to him with calm determination. "Your life now belongs to destiny," she said softly. And then everything went white. When Aaron opened his eyes, he found himself in a different room, quieter and darker than before. The floor was made of smooth metal that reflected faint blue light, and the air smelled of strange herbs. For a moment he thought he was alone, but then he heard a soft voice, calm and strong. "You are awake," said Queen Sarathia, standing beside him, her glowing eyes watching every movement he made. Aaron tried to sit up, his head spinning. "Where am I?" he asked. "You are in my private chamber," she replied. "Where no one can hear us." He looked around, the room filled with floating symbols, ancient writing moving like mist. There were no guards, no council members, just her and the quiet hum of the ship. Aaron rubbed his temples. "What happened?" "The last thing I remember is light, so much light." Sarathia nodded slowly. "I had to protect you, my guards tried to take you. But I could not allow that." Her tone was calm, but he could hear the weight behind her words. Aaron stood, still uncertain if he could trust her. "You risked your life for me?" he said softly. "Why?" Sarathia turned toward the glowing window that looked out into space. Stars stretched endlessly before them, cold and beautiful. "I had to," she said. "Because you are the key to something far greater than either of our worlds." Aaron frowned. "You keep saying that, the mark, the first. What does it all mean?" Sarathia touched a floating crystal and a holographic image appeared between them. It showed a planet surrounded by light, a world unlike any he had ever seen. "This is Illustra," she said. "The birthplace of both our kinds." Aaron's eyes widened. "You mean humans came from there too?" She nodded. "Long ago, before memory itself. The first ones created both humans and Zarathians to carry their light into the stars." Aaron stared at the glowing projection, trying to understand. "But if we share the same origin, why have we spent centuries at war?" he asked. Sarathia's expression darkened. "Because of fear. And because the truth was hidden." She turned to him, her face soft but filled with sorrow. "My people once tried to control the humans, to guide them, but they grew fast, wild, unpredictable. And so the connection was broken." Aaron looked down, feeling a chill in his chest. "And now, we barely understand each other." "Yes," the Queen said. "But when you touched me, something inside both of us awakened." The ancient code of the first, she raised her hand and their matching glows shone again, merging like fire and crystal. Aaron could feel her thoughts again, a wave of emotions not his own. Images flashed through his mind, ancient temples, stars being born, creatures made of light walking on strange lands. He gasped and stepped back, breathing hard. "What was that?" he whispered. "I saw." "Their world," Sarathia nodded slowly. "You saw the memory of the first ones. Their gift lives inside us. But it has slept for thousands of years." She paused, looking at him with both awe and fear. "You are the first human in centuries to awaken it." Aaron shook his head, his voice trembling. "I'm not a hero, I'm not chosen. I just made a mistake." But Sarathia's tone grew firmer. "Sometimes destiny hides inside mistakes. Lieutenant Reed." As her words sank in, the door suddenly hissed open, and a voice shouted in their language. A Zyrathian officer stepped inside, his armor glowing red. "My queen, the council demands your presence." "They know you are hiding the human." Sarathia's eyes narrowed, her calm cracking for the first time. "Tell them I will come when I choose," she said sharply. The guard hesitated, then bowed and left. The door sealing behind him, Aaron exhaled slowly. "They'll come for me again, won't they?" The Queen nodded, her expression softening. "Yes, and this time they won't listen to reason." She moved closer, lowering her voice. "There are those in my council who fear the prophecy. They believe your existence will end our empire." Aaron frowned. "So what do we do?" Sarathia looked out at the stars again, her tone calm but heavy. "We run," Aaron blinked. "Run? Where?" She turned to face him, her long white hair glowing faintly in the blue light. "To Illustra," she said, "the lost world. The place where everything began." Aaron's heart skipped. "You mean that planet from the hologram?" "Yes," she replied. If the prophecy is true, the answers are there. Her hand hovered near his shoulder, hesitant but steady. Will you trust me? For a long moment, Aaron said nothing. He thought about Earth, his home, his people who barely trusted aliens at all. Now he was standing beside their queen, a being he was once told to fear. He looked into her glowing eyes and saw something human, doubt, pain, and hope. Finally, he nodded. I'll trust you, he said quietly. But if we do this, we do it together. Sarathia smiled faintly, a small crack in her royal calm. Together, she repeated. That is what the prophecy always meant. She waved her hand and the wall behind them opened, revealing a hidden hangar filled with sleek silver ships. Aaron's eyes widened. You have an escape plan ready? The queen's smile turned sharper. A queen always has a plan. As they walked toward the glowing ship, alarms began to echo faintly in the distance. The council had discovered her secret, and soldiers were already moving. Sarathia glanced back one last time at her empty throne. Let them chase shadows, she whispered. The truth cannot be caged. Aaron followed her into the ship, his heart racing with fear and wonder as the engines came alive. He realized there was no turning back. The journey to Illustra and the truth of humanity had just begun. The ship hummed softly as it slipped through the darkness of space. Aaron sat near the control panel, watching stars drift past like tiny sparks. The small craft felt silent compared to the great halls of the Zarathian flagship. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound felt heavier than it should. He still couldn't believe what had happened. He was now a fugitive with the alien queen, hunted by both humans and aliens alike. Queen Sarathia stood near the window, her silver hair glowing faintly under the ship's dim light. Her eyes stared into the endless dark, but her thoughts were far away. Aaron finally broke the silence. How long until they find us? Sarathia's voice was calm but distant. Not long, my council will not stop. They fear what you represent. Aaron frowned. And what do I represent? She turned toward him, her gaze sharp yet soft. Change, Lieutenant Reed. And change is the one thing they cannot control. For a while, neither of them spoke. The stars outside seemed to whisper stories of ancient times. Then suddenly the ship's warning lights flickered, a faint beep echoing through the cabin. Aaron leaned forward. What was that? Sarathia's eyes narrowed. Something is wrong. That was not a signal from outside. It came from inside the ship, before they could react. The lights dimmed and the temperature dropped sharply. A cold mist began to form near the engine room, and a low metallic sound echoed through the corridors. Aaron reached for the side compartment where a plasma pistol was stored. Sarathia's voice grew firm. Stay close. They moved quietly through the narrow hallway, the blue lights flickering above them. The hum of the ship grew uneven. Like a heartbeat out of rhythm, suddenly a shadow moved past the corner. Fast. Silent, too smooth to be human, Aaron froze. His finger tightening around the trigger, a tall figure stepped out of the darkness, wrapped in armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Its eyes glowed red beneath the helmet. Its movements calm but deadly. Sarathia recognized it instantly. Her voice filled with disbelief. An eclipser. Aaron looked at her, confused. What's an eclipser? She stepped forward, her expression dark. Assassins created by my council, trained to kill silently without leaving a trace. The figure tilted its head, its mechanical voice cold. The queen has betrayed the empire, and the human carries the mark. They must be erased before Aaron could blink. The assassin vanished in a flash of motion. Sarathia shouted, Move! And pulled Aaron aside just as a blade of pure energy sliced through the air where he had been standing. The corridor filled with sparks and Aaron felt the heat against his face. He fired blindly into the mist, bolts of blue light scattering off the walls. The eclipser appeared again behind them. Silent and swift, Sarathia raised her hands, her eyes blazing, and a surge of energy burst from her palms. The assassin was thrown back, crashing into the wall, but it recovered quickly. Twisting like a shadow come alive, Aaron gasped. How do we stop it? The queen's voice was steady. We don't fight shadows with fire. We fight them with light. She closed her eyes, her body glowing brighter, her energy filling the hallway with silver radiance. The assassin lunged again, but its movement slowed as the light intensified. Its armor began to crack, the red glow in its eyes flickering. With one final pulse, Sarathia unleashed a wave of blinding light. and the Eclipser fell still, smoke rising from its body. For a moment, the ship was silent again, only the faint hum of the engines returning. Aaron lowered his weapon, breathing heavily. "You saved us again." Sarathia turned to him, her face pale but calm. "No, I saved you. And now they will send more." Aaron frowned. "More assassins," she nodded. "Once the council knows I protected you, they will see me as a traitor." Her voice softened, almost sad. "I can never go back." Aaron wanted to say something comforting, but words failed him. He could see the pain behind her calm expression, the weight of betrayal and exile. For the first time, she didn't look like a queen. She looked like someone who had lost everything. He stepped closer, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "Then you're not alone anymore." Sarathia looked at him, surprised for a moment, then smiled faintly. "Humans are strange creatures," she whispered. Aaron chuckled softly. "We get that a lot." They returned to the cockpit, the glow of distant stars reflecting in their eyes. Sarathia activated the navigation controls, her fingers moving with quiet grace. "The Eclipser came from a signal beacon attached to our ship," she said. "I can mask our energy trail, but we must move fast." Aaron nodded. "Where do we go now?" "To the edge of the Andros Nebula," she replied. "Beyond that lies Illustra, the world of the first." As the ship accelerated, the stars stretched into long white lines. Aaron leaned back in his seat, exhausted but curious. "You said the first ones created both our species." "Right." "Yes," Sarathia replied, her eyes still on the stars. "They believed unity was the key to survival. But we turned unity into division." Aaron looked at his glowing hand, the faint blue light still pulsing softly. "Maybe this is our second chance," he said quietly. The Queen smiled again, just slightly. "Maybe." Outside, space grew darker as they entered the nebula, thick clouds of light swirling like storms of color. But far behind them, hidden within the shadow of a distant moon, another ship activated its engines. Inside it, a second Eclipser opened its glowing red eyes, its voice whispering through static. "Target acquired." The hunt had only begun, and destiny was moving faster than either of them could imagine. The ship drifted silently into the glowing clouds of the Andros Nebula. Outside the windows, streams of light shimmered like rivers made of fire. The stars were gone now, hidden behind thick cosmic mist that twisted and pulsed like living smoke. Inside the cockpit, Aaron stared at the swirling colors with awe and unease. "It's beautiful," he whispered, "but it feels alive." Queen Sarathia nodded slowly, her silver eyes reflecting the nebula's light. "It is alive." This part of space was once the cradle of creation. Aaron leaned forward. "You mean this is where your people came from?" Sarathia smiled faintly. "Not just mine. Perhaps yours too?" He blinked, confused. "How could humans come from here?" "The first ones shaped us both," she said softly. "They believed that different forms could carry the same spirit, the same spark." Her words hung in the air like a quiet truth Aaron wasn't ready to understand. The ship trembled suddenly, a low rumble echoing through the hull. Aaron looked at the radar. Something's out there. The screen flickered, unable to read the strange energy around them. Sarathia frowned. The void shifts energy patterns. It hides things and reveals others. Then she turned sharply, her senses alert. "We are not alone." A dark shadow moved across the glowing mist outside. It was enormous, moving with slow, graceful motions. Aaron pressed his face to the window. "What is that?" Sarathia's voice grew tense. "A void serpent, a creature older than most stars. It feeds on energy and light." Before Aaron could react, a massive shape slithered past the ship, its scales shining like black glass. Its single golden eye turned toward them, and the air seemed to thicken with dread. The ship shook violently as the creature circled, its movement stirring the nebula around them. Aaron grabbed the control stick. "I'm taking us out of here." Sarathia raised a hand. "Wait, if you fire the engines, it will sense our energy and attack." "Then what do we do?" he hissed. His heart pounding, she took a deep breath, her voice calm but firm. "We hide, not with machines, but with will." She closed her eyes, and her body began to glow with a dim silver light. The light spread through the ship, soft and pulsing like a heartbeat. Aaron could feel the strange warmth touch his skin, as if the air itself had become alive. "What's happening?" he whispered. Sarathia replied without opening her eyes. "I'm masking our life force." turning us invisible to what hunts light. Outside, the serpent's golden eye passed over the ship again, then slowly turned away, disappearing into the fog. Aaron exhaled in relief, his hands trembling. "You saved us again." The Queen opened her eyes. Weak but smiling. "We saved ourselves." For a few minutes, silence filled the cabin. Then Aaron asked quietly, "Do you ever get tired of saving the universe?" Sarathia chuckled softly. "Every day." Her laughter faded and she looked out into the glowing void again. But the universe still needs saving. As they drifted deeper into the nebula, the light around them began to change. The colors grew darker, shades of blue and violet replacing the bright gold. Aaron noticed faint shapes moving in the mist. Like shadows of ancient ships, he frowned. "Are those wrecks?" "Yes," Sarathia said sadly. "The ships of those who entered the void and never left." A silence fell between them. Heavy and cold, Aaron whispered. "You think we'll make it through?" Sarathia turned to him, her gaze steady. "That depends, Lieutenant." "Do you believe in second chances?" Aaron hesitated, then nodded slowly. "I do now." Her eyes softened. "Then we will." Suddenly the radar beeped again. But this time it wasn't a threat. A signal blinked faintly. A distress call. Very old. Aaron leaned closer. "It's human," he said in disbelief. Sarathia looked at the screen. Impossible. No human ship has come this far. But the signal repeated, weak but clear. "This is Commander Blake of the Solarian Expedition. Requesting assistance." Aaron's eyes widened. "That's from one of the first human deep space missions. That ship disappeared decades ago," Sarathia nodded. "Then its ghosts are calling us." Aaron hesitated. "Should we answer?" Her voice was calm but grave. "Sometimes ghosts hold truths the living are not ready to hear." She adjusted the navigation controls, turning the ship toward the signal. As they approached, a massive silhouette began to appear in the distance. The wreckage of a giant ship, half buried in the glowing mist. "Floating lifeless and broken," Aaron whispered. "That's the Solarian Dawn." Its hull was torn open. Its lights long dead, but as they drew closer, faint blue lights flickered deep inside the wreck. Sarathia's voice was quiet. "Something still lives there." Aaron shivered. "Or something waits." The Queen reached for her staff, her expression calm but alert. "Prepare yourself, Lieutenant. The void hides both answers and nightmares," Aaron nodded. Gripping his plasma pistol tightly, the ship's ramp opened slowly, letting in a gust of shimmering air. Together, they stepped into the wreck of a forgotten world. The silence inside felt alive, as if the ship itself was holding its breath. And far away, unseen through the clouds of the nebula, a dark transmission left the Queen's old empire. "The traitor has entered the void," the voice said. "Activate the hunt." And somewhere beyond the stars, a dozen ships began to move. The storm was coming, and neither the Queen nor the human knew that the real war had only just begun. The wreck of the Solarian Dawn floated silently in the heart of the nebula. Its massive hull was cracked open like the skeleton of some ancient beast, glowing faintly under the shifting clouds of violet light. Aaron and Queen Sarathia stepped through the open airlock, their boots echoing softly in the hollow corridor. The smell of metal and age filled the air, mixed with something strange, an energy that felt both alive and dead. Aaron whispered, "It feels like this ship is breathing." Sarathia nodded, her eyes scanning the shadows. "It remembers." Dim lights flickered along the corridor walls as they moved deeper inside. The ship's systems were half alive, powered by fragments of energy still pulsing in its broken heart. Old human symbols marked the walls, and Aaron felt a pang of recognition. He reached out and brushed the dust from a plaque, reading the faded words aloud. "Solarian Dawn, for hope and exploration." Sarathia tilted her head. "Your people came far seeking the unknown, yet they vanished into it." Aaron sighed. "Maybe some discoveries are too big to survive." They reached the central chamber, where shattered consoles surrounded a glowing core. Faint holograms flickered in the air, faces of long-dead crew members, looping endlessly through their final recordings. A woman's voice crackled through the static. "If anyone receives this message, the stars are not what they seem." Then silence. Aaron stared at the frozen hologram, her eyes wide in terror before it faded. He swallowed hard. "What happened to them?" Sarathia walked closer, placing her hand on the core. Something answered their curiosity. Suddenly, the lights around them flared to life. A deep hum rising through the floor. Aaron spun around. What did you do? I touched the memory, Sarathia said calmly, her voice echoing strangely. The walls of the chamber shimmered, transforming into moving images of the past. The Solarian dawn appeared whole again. Floating proudly through the stars, crew members laughed, worked, and recorded data as they neared the edge of the nebula. Then, a flash of light, a distortion in space, ripped through their path. The image showed a black sphere expanding, swallowing the ship piece by piece. Screams filled the air before the hologram collapsed into darkness. Aaron stepped back, shaking his head. That wasn't a star. It was something else, Sarathia nodded. Her face pale. A rift gate created by the first ones. Meant to connect worlds, but something corrupted it. Aaron frowned. Corrupted it how? By fear, she said quietly. They tried to destroy it. But their creation turned against them. The ship around them groaned suddenly, metal shifting like it was alive again. Aaron raised his weapon. What was that? Sarathia turned slowly, her eyes narrowing. We are not alone. A figure stepped out from behind a shattered console. Its movement stiff and jerky. Aaron froze. That's a human. The man's face was pale and hollow, his eyes glowing faint blue when he spoke. His voice was distant. Welcome. Home, Sarathia whispered. He's not alive. The man smiled faintly. We became one with the ship, with the light. The void feeds us now, his hand lifted, and a wave of energy burst toward them. Aaron ducked, firing a pulse shot that lit up the chamber. The figure vanished into smoke, then reappeared behind him, moving too fast. Sarathia raised her staff, sending out a silver shockwave that threw the ghostly form backward. It screamed, a sound that was not human anymore. Then it dissolved into dust, its voice echoing. The rift opens again. Aaron turned to Sarathia, breathing hard. We have to get out of here. She shook her head. No, we must reach the core. It holds the coordinates to the first one's world. They moved deeper, following the pulsing light through twisted corridors. Every few steps, flickers of human forms appeared, echoes of memories caught in time. Some wept, others laughed, but all faded when Sarathia passed, her presence making them vanish like mist. Finally, they reached the reactor chamber, where a huge sphere of blue energy floated in midair. The heart of the dawn, Sarathia whispered. This is what powers its endless echo. Aaron stared in awe. It's beautiful. She touched the surface, and streams of symbols lit up around them, ancient and strange. Aaron frowned. Can you read that? Sarathia nodded slowly. It's a warning. Her voice trembled slightly as she translated. Beware the ones who come from light, for they bring darkness. Aaron's face hardened. They're talking about us. No, Sarathia said. They are talking about something that uses light as a weapon. Before Aaron could ask, the sphere pulsed violently, throwing them both back. A voice filled the chamber, cold, mechanical, endless. Identity detected. Human and Zerathian genetic match found. Access granted. The entire ship began to shake. Energy surging through every wall. Sarathia gasped. It's opening a gateway. Aaron grabbed her arm. We need to leave now. But before they could run, a blinding white light filled the chamber. Through it, Aaron saw stars twisting into impossible shapes, like the universe was being rewritten. He felt himself being pulled, his body weightless, his mind spinning. Then everything went dark when his vision returned. He was lying on solid ground. The air was warm, the sky above glowing gold like a living sun. Sarathia stood beside him, her expression unreadable. We crossed the rift. Aaron sat up slowly, staring at the vast world stretching before them. Towers of crystal, rivers of light, and skies filled with floating islands. He whispered in awe, Where are we? Sarathia answered softly, The world of the first ones. But before Aaron could speak again, a shadow passed over them. Dozens of shapes moved in the golden sky, ships unlike any he had seen before, and at the center of them, a colossal figure watched from afar, its eyes burning with silver fire. Sarathia's voice dropped to a whisper. They know we're here. Aaron stood, his pulse racing. Who are they? The keepers, she said. The ones who were never meant to wake. The golden sky shimmered above them, filled with floating structures that glowed like fragments of the sun. Aaron stood speechless, his eyes wide as he took in the sight of the endless horizon. The air felt alive, soft and warm, humming with ancient energy. "This place," he whispered. "It's beautiful." Queen Sarathia nodded slowly, her silver eyes reflecting the light. "It is the birthplace of both our species." Before them stretched a vast valley covered in crystal towers and flowing rivers of light. Each tower pulsed with faint energy as if breathing. Aaron could feel something deep inside him respond, a quiet vibration, like his body recognized this world even if his mind did not. Sarathia turned her gaze toward the sky, where shapes began to descend through the golden clouds. "They found us," she said quietly. Aaron followed her eyes, seeing dozens of sleek ships forming a perfect circle in the air. They moved with grace, silent and powerful. Glowing with silver fire, one ship broke formation and descended slowly toward them. As it landed, a radiant figure stepped out, tall and glowing faintly like starlight given form. Its face was calm and expressionless, its voice deep and layered. "You have crossed into the realm of the first. You do not belong here." Aaron stepped forward. "We didn't mean to intrude. The rift brought us here." The being turned its gaze toward him, studying him carefully. "A human," it said softly. "And a Zarathian queen." Sarathia lifted her chin, her voice steady. "We came seeking the truth of our creation." The being's light flickered faintly. "Truth is not given freely, Queen Sarathia. It must be earned." Aaron frowned. "Who are you?" The being's form shifted slightly, as if made of smoke and light. "We are the Keepers, guardians of what remains of the first ones." Sarathia's expression darkened. "Then you are the reason our people were divided." The Keeper tilted its head. "Division was not our doing, it was your choice. Both human and Zyrathian turned away from unity." Aaron stepped beside her. "If that's true, then maybe we can fix it." The Keeper's eyes glowed brighter. Perhaps you will repeat the same mistake." The ground beneath them began to glow, and in an instant the world around them shifted. They were no longer standing in the open valley, but inside a vast chamber of light. Thousands of floating crystals surrounded them, each showing visions of different times, wars, peace, creation, destruction. Sarathia turned slowly, her voice hushed. "These are the memories of the first ones." Aaron stared at one crystal showing a human shaking hands with an alien. "They work together," he whispered. The Keeper's voice echoed around them. "For a time, yes, until fear taught them to destroy what they loved." Images changed, showing fire, betrayal, and darkness spreading across worlds. Aaron felt a chill run through him. "So this is our history," the Keeper replied. "It is everyone's history." Sarathia took a step forward, her tone firm. "Then help us. Teach us how to restore what was lost." The Keeper's light dimmed slightly. As if considering, then it said, "There is one way. But it requires sacrifice," Aaron tensed. "What kind of sacrifice?" The Keeper turned toward him. "The rift between your species was not only spiritual, it is woven into your DNA. Only one who carries both lights can mend it." Sarathia's eyes widened. "Both lights." The Keeper's gaze moved between them. The human and the Zyrathian joined by accident, yet destined by design. Aaron frowned. "You mean me?" The Keeper nodded. "You touched the Queen and took her mark. Your body holds both energies now. You are the bridge." Aaron felt his heart pound. "So what happens if I do this?" "You will become the key that reconnects what was broken," the Keeper said softly. "But once joined, you will no longer exist as you are." Sarathia's voice broke slightly. "You mean he'll die?" The Keeper looked at her with something almost like sorrow. "No, he will transcend, but the human you know will be gone." Silence filled the chamber. Aaron stared at the glowing floor beneath his feet, his mind spinning. All his life, he had been just a soldier, a man trying to survive. Now, he was being asked to change the fate of two worlds. He looked up at Sarathia, who stood motionless, her expression torn between duty and fear. Finally, he said softly, "If this is what it takes to stop the war, I'll do it." Sarathia stepped forward quickly, her voice trembling. "No, you don't have to." Aaron smiled faintly. "Maybe I was meant to." The Keeper raised its hand, and a beam of light extended from the floor. It reached toward Aaron like a gentle wave, surrounding him in silver and blue. Sarathia tried to move closer, but the light pushed her back. Aaron's eyes glowed as the energies inside him began to merge. The mark on his hand pulsed, sending out waves of power that made the air vibrate. The Keeper's voice echoed, "The bridge awakens." Suddenly, the entire world began to tremble. Outside, the sky darkened. and the floating towers began to crack from beyond the clouds. A dark shape emerged, the fleet of the Zarathian Empire, led by the same council that had sent assassins after them. Zarathia gasped, "They found us." The keeper's tone turned grave. "Then time is gone, the bridge must be completed now or all will end," Aaron shouted over the roaring energy. "Do it." The light engulfed everything. Turning the chamber into a storm of silver fire, Zarathia screamed his name, reaching for him even as her vision dissolved into light. Aaron's voice echoed faintly. "Tell them, we were never enemies." Then the world exploded in a blinding flash when the light faded. The chamber was empty, only Zarathia remained, kneeling on the glowing floor. Her eyes filled with tears. Aaron was gone, but the world outside had changed. The golden sky was brighter. The ships above had stopped their attack. And somewhere deep in the stars a new light burned. Two energies merged into one. Zarathia stood slowly, her hand glowing faintly with Aaron's mark. She whispered to the silence, "You didn't vanish. You became the bridge." Then she turned toward the rising sun of the first world. A new era had begun, and the universe would never be the same again.